Hey there, Heather Boyd Wire here, and today it's Tip Tuesday. Today I had a request from April to make adjustable rose rings. You're going to need 20 gauge wire, a ring mandrel, cutters, round pliers, and flat pliers. I'm going to start with about 12 inches of 20 gauge wire and just wind it around the ring mandrel. And then we're going to bend it back at the center back of the ring. This is how I've been doing my adjustable rings recently. I have others linked up in the description below. So we're going to line up those ends, put it back on the mandrel, and wind the wires back to the front. So we're going to bring them back to the center front and make sure they're lined up. That's the center back. Now at the center front, we're going to twist them. So we're going to bend one of them up and one of them down and just do a little twist in the center so they're hooked together. You can see them lined up there. Put it back on the mandrel. And then we're going to keep twisting to form the rose. So we want to hold it in place. And we're going to go slowly. We're going to bend one wire around and then the other. You can remove it from the mandrel to get a better grip. So we're just going to give it a little twist, just part way around. Do one side at a time and we're going to hook it underneath. Bring it around and then take the other wire, wind it around and hook it underneath that wire. And we're going to keep going in this fashion. So we just bring it around underneath the wire and then rotate it and do it again, bring it underneath that wire. And then if you want to make the outside a little more fancy, you can get your round pliers and bend the wire back and forth. I have other rose ring tutorials that I'll link up in the description. I have some that are not adjustable, but it's nice to have an adjustable option for these rings, especially if you're selling them, then you don't have to make a whole bunch of different sizes. So there we go. And we're going to do the other side. So I did about an inch and a quarter of crinkled wire, just gently bending it back and forth with my fine round nose pliers. I'll link up all my tools in the description below. So we're just going to keep going until you have enough of the crinkled wire. And now we're going to keep with our twist for the rose. So just keep bending it around. Bend it a little on either side, a little bit at a time. Bring the wire underneath as we did before. Do any little adjusting that you have to do. And we want just to surround that middle part with the crinkled wire. So we'll keep going around. We need a little wire to be left at the end because we're going to take those ends and wind them around the band. So I'm just holding them with the flat pliers and winding them around about 2 times. You could go around 3 times, however you like the look. Flip it around and we'll do the same with the other end. Just grab it with your flat pliers. I had just enough wire for this one. I cut about 12 inches. You can always cut it a little bit longer if you want more leeway with the wire, or if you want a larger rose. So once you wound it around, clip the ends, clip them with your flush cutters, give it a good little cut, and then we'll get our flat pliers to pinch in those pokey ends. So just push them in so they're not sharp. Do the same on the other side. Kind of rotate it a bit, pinch it in. You can squeeze the wires together so they're a little more discreet. They'll be almost underneath the rose. Do the same on the other side. You can pinch the two coils together just to bring them in a little bit more. Do any adjusting you have to, and then put it back on the ring mandrel. You could hammer it if you like to work harden the wire, and do any little adjusting that you need. Line up those ends at the center. Use the flat pliers if you need to adjust them a little bit more. And there is your beautiful rose gold ring. So now we're going to use the silver colored tarnish resistant copper wire. I love to use the Artistic wire by Beadalon. It's my favorite wire. So we've started in the same way we did the first one, and we're going to just crisscross those wires and secure them at the center front. So just make sure they're nicely twisted in place so they're secure. Just doing a little bit at the middle this time. And then I'm going to remove it from the mandrel, and I'm going to go ahead and crinkle the wire. So I just twisted the middle part a little less than I did with the first one. And we're going to crinkle the wire with our fine round nose pliers. And I'm going to make a little bit more crinkle, just over 2 inches. And then we'll do the same on the other side. This one's going to be a little bit more fancy than the first one. Keep going with our crinkle to make it about the same length as the other one, just over 2 inches. And then we're going to go ahead and do our twisting to form the rose. So just bring it around. Sometimes you have to wiggle it around a little bit. Bring it underneath. Same thing underneath. You just do a little, quarter, half turn. And then you go to the next wire and then bring it underneath and turn it a little bit more. But you will have to adjust it a bit as you go to make sure it's got a nice shape to it. I had to flatten it out a little bit. It got a little curved up, so you can just flatten it back down with your flat pliers. And just keep going around and around until we have a nice rose shape. Take your time with it, wiggle it around if there's some gaps or if there's too much sticking out. It's a bit of a process. You just want to really take your time, go slowly. This one's a really crinkly rose. It's kind of cute though. I like the one that's a combination of sort of straight and crinkly, or you don't have to crinkle it at all. I'll show you that one in the last ring. So keep going until you've used up all the crinkle, and then we're going to wind it around the band a couple of times. Clip it with the flesh cutters, and now we'll do the same on the other side. Just wind it around a couple of times. The 20 gauge wire is a little soft, but like I said, you can work harden the wire, you can hammer it. You can use a half hard wire if you want it a little bit stiffer, but the soft wire works nicely with the rose. So just bring in those ends, adjust it on the ring mandrel. Push it in a little bit if you need to. And there's your fancy rose ring with the crinkly wire. So we're going to do one more. This time we're not going to crinkle the wire. We're going to start it in the same way we did previously. We're just going to crisscross the wires to hook them together. And we're going to go ahead and form the rose. So we're doing it in the same style where you bring it around part way, one of the wires, and then you're going to take the other wire and hook it underneath that wire. Try to keep it loose. It doesn't have to be super tight. You want it to look more organic. So we're just going to keep going around That wire I put a little more over top. You really want it to look a little bit more messy, not too tight, because flowers are a little imperfect anyways. So we're going to keep going around, using up quite a bit of the wire, making it as big as you want. And then once you're happy with it, this time I'm not even going to wind it around more than once. I'm just going to hook it around once, just hook it right around the band just one time, and then clip it flush right in there. These are the Xuron flush cutters. They're really great. And then you're going to pinch in that pokey end, so it just sits right underneath the rose. Pinch it in a little bit so it holds in place, and we'll do the same on this side. Give it a flush cut. Get your flat pliers, push in that little pokey end. Make sure it's sitting right underneath there. Give it a little pinch, and it's nice and soft. Put it back on the mandrel, line up those ends. That's going to sit at the center back. Push the rose in a bit. If it's sticking out, you can do any little adjustments, and there's your beautiful gold rose adjustable ring.
So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more wire art and jewelry making videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire art and jewelry, be sure to join the Wire Makers Club on Facebook. And if you'd like to check out my work on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. I also have a mailing list, so if you'd like to sign up below, I'll send you my Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you the next time.